Okay. See here. So I have added the project, but I have not logged in. So when I double click on this, the first thing is it will prompting for me a password. So I'm just going to log on to, I'm just going to provide my password. Hmm, what happened to this? Why it's not logging in? Fish. Hmm. Zero से रहा होगा। Not sure, guys. The system is not working, but anyways, we'll discuss the theory part for today. Not a big deal. But anyways, so see here, when you're logging to the your Eclipse and just double click on your project. Yesterday, I have already shown you how to create your project, and then over here, so how to add your project, we have already showcased you. So double click on this, it will just prompt for your password. So I would request you to go ahead and use your what is this? Your Eclipse only going forward. Don't write your code in your GUI. Don't write your code in your GUI. Okay. So whatever the things you can able to do it in your Eclipse, I'd always suggest you to go ahead and do it in your Eclipse. Now, let's see. So in yesterday's class, we have already started you seeing of your inline declarations. As I already told you, what is this inline declarations? So inline declarations are nothing but simple. When you are going to write down the table, or when you are going to write down the statement, you can declare your variables or work areas or internal table at that place itself. That's called as your inline declarations. So inline declarations and new syntaxes are different. Remember that. New syntaxes are different. Inline declaration is just replacing the statement. Declarations are just replacing or just adding. Inline declarations are just, sorry, inline declarations, we will just provide the declaration, provide the declaration while while writing the ABAP program. That means during your select statement, or during your read statement, or during your loop statement, wherever it can be. So at that time itself, we can directly go ahead and write down. But new syntaxes. So these are the one which are compatible to HANA. The new syntaxes. Now, what are the new syntaxes that we have? So, the first and the foremost statement we will be starting head with here. Read. So, my class will be, we will be just checking, we will be just providing you the inline declarations, and then we will be showcasing you the new syntax parallelly. So parallelly, we will be going to showcase you the new syntax also for that. Okay. So now coming to this inline declarations. So coming to the new syntaxes, for which of the key or for which of the statements the new syntaxes has been came for. So for all whatever the statements which you are going to do it on the application layer, whatever the statements which we are doing at the application layer level. So in those places we will be going to get, we will be SAP has been provided you the new syntaxes, the application layer level. That means in the form of read statement, read statement, concat statement, uh, not for split we don't have anything, loop, and then we have something called as corresponding move corresponding, and then we have something called as if statement, switch statement, or sorry, case statement, and then we have something called as your what are the other things we have, and we have loop at loop at group by, which is a replacement of your control break statements, which is a replacement of your control break statements. So this is one thing. And if you want to get describe lines, describe lines. So this is one statement. And then we will if you want to add the data to the internal table, like for your append, insert, modify, as well as your delete. So append, insert, modify, and delete. So delete statements. And then we have something called as how to add the records manually. So you will be passing field by field, and then you will be writing your append work area to your internal table. So here, what is that new statement that has been came up, and then how to add multiple records manually in the internal table. So this is one thing. And then we will also see something called as inside a loop, uh, inside. So for loop statement, we have told you, right? The loop statement is nothing but is replacement statement is your for loop. How we will, and in this we will be going to see for loop with the let operator, and then we will be going to see something called as your how to call the function module inside a for loop. You can't able to directly call that one. There is a different way for calling of this thing, how to calling your function module inside your for loop. And then the next one is we will be going to see something called as your reduce operator. So this is one thing. So these are some of the important uh, things or important syntaxes that we will be going to work with your with S4. I mean, with these are the new syntaxes that has been came up, I would say. Now, after this, we will be going to see something called as your the select statements, the new select statements, the new select statements for SAP ECC. That means yesterday I have already told you on a single table. Now select with joins, and then after that we will be going to see select with for all entries, for all entries. And then we will be going to see something called as your, what is that we will be going to see? S4 select statement. There is a difference while writing your select statements on your S4. S4. Okay. So how you have to go ahead and write down that select statement. And even in S4, we can join an internal table and a database table, DB table, without writing of your for all entries. Without writing of your for all entries, we can go ahead and join that one. So these are nothing but your select state. These are HANA syntaxes, which we parallelly cover when. So after this, we will be starting it with your CDS views. And when we are going to start it with your CDS view, how can we write the same CDS view in your S4 select statements is what we will be going to see. S4 select statements is what we will be going to see. Okay. And there is one more statement called as your ABAP CTE, which is nothing but your common table expressions. This is something a native SQL query we will be going to write down while we are fetching the data from the database. From the database, we'll just go ahead and write down your ABAP CTE. So these are some of the important syntaxes that we need to remember when we are going to working on your S4 HANA. And not only this, whatever, sorry, just give me 1 minute. Whatever the syntaxes which we have seen, the concatenation, the case statement, the and then if you want to trim your data, if you want to add a leading zeros, or if you want to concatenate multiple things, or if you want to offset concept. So those all those things we can directly do it on your select statement. We don't need to depends upon your internal, I mean, we don't need to depends upon your application layer. Those things, whatever the things which I have just showcased you over here, almost everything we can able to do it with that via your select statement, so that statements also we will be going to see. So going forward, when you're working on your SAP S4 HANA, you need to utilize your S4 select statements only. Don't use your regular ECC statements. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, Rakesh, one question. So, I just wanted to understand, why do we need new syntaxes when old syntaxes were working and so many implementations we have done already? So, it is end of the day, the program would have executed on SAP server already. ABAP stack knows the old syntax. So, why do we today need again new syntax for how to loop, how to do this?
Okay.
I just theoretically I
See,
want.
uh, I mean, so when you're working on these syntaxes, compared to that, these will be the execution time will be very faster. And see,
Okay.
inline declarations, the declarations will also get reduced. Unnecessary variables what we are creating will be gets reduced. So when you are removing that unnecessary variable, see, whenever you want, let's say for example, if you want to get how many lines do we have, how many lines do we have on an
Right.
internal table, what you will do, you will declare a variable with the type integer, right? But here we don't need to do such type of things. It will uses your SAP internal memory. It won't uses your ABAP memory. So in the ABAP memory we have to declare our variables, and in that variables we need to pass it. So that declarations will be gets reduced when you are going ahead and using these new syntaxes. That's the main advantage for going ahead. So when you're writing this also, the code will also gets reduced. But but coming to the debugging side, So the
Mm.
drawback of this is in the debugging side. See, I won't declare a variable. I will directly write that in the if condition itself. If the internal table is greater than these many lines. So these many lines, I won't be declaring it. I won't declare any variable. I can directly write my ABAP code. So how I will be writing it? So system is not available, or else I would have showcased you with the in the system. So I'll just say internal table.
Mhm.
Okay. Uh, this is okay. So let's say, for example, uh, if the internal table contains
Mhm.
more than five records,
Okay.
so we need to do some action. We
Yes.
need to do some action. So now what you will be doing this, you will be first checking if
Yeah. How
I
many? Yeah.
we will be writing
Yes. Describe iTab
describe table
lines into
describe
some.
table lines.
Yeah.
You will be just providing your variable, whatever the
Yes.
variable it is, right? And if variable is greater than 5,
Yes.
and you will be writing this one. So
Yeah.
here you know the count of it. But now when I am going to write down in my new syntaxes, so for
Mhm.
this describe table, we have something called as your lines of GT and lines of your itab. So you
Okay.
just need to provide this one. So I can just use this condition directly if lines of itab
Oh,
is greater than 5.
no need to declare a variable again.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It will uses your SAP internal memory.
Got it.
So that's the main advantage.
Yeah.
That's the main advantage when you're going ahead and using your new syntaxes.
Yeah,
Okay.
but the whole thing when we got introduced to SAP, the first thing was ABAP by four, we say, right? A fourth
Mm,
generation language,
mm,
which was the first. I still remember ABAP in 21 days. It says ABAP is a fourth generation language, which is more readable than technical. The whole point is we are moving away from Java and .NET kind of coding because it should be business language. It's readable. I think
right.
years later we are coming back to the technical nature of it because now we are in
Exactly.
cloud and now it's not no more a business language. I don't think functional consultants can do now coding. Before they used to. Now it is more technical in nature, like you are a
Exactly.
full stack developer now, right? So
I'll just show. Sorry, my system is not working, or else I'll show you how we used to tell you that. Now, so this is how the advantages. So the only thing is you just need to know. You just need to double click on the internal table. Then you can just know how many records are there. Based upon that, you can just find out your count directly, not on the variable. So here you need to do more concentration while you are debugging. While you are
yeah, because
debugging.
this is not a variable. Like lines
Right,
of itab, it doesn't show as a value in that debugger screen, right?
right,
Something. Yeah,
right.
got it.
Okay, so that's the advantage. See, the only thing is if you in your normal ECC, let's say if you're writing 100 lines of code in
Mhm.
your S4, mostly you will be closing that with 30 to 40 lines.
Yeah, but again, readability is the thing.
Readability is, see, that's what. If you want to use your S4 HANA, I mean S4 HANA nature, then you have to go ahead and write down like this only. Then what is the purpose of going ahead with an S4?
Right. No,
Okay,
see, SAP saying and then client's requirement are two different things. Client doesn't. Sometimes I've seen clients where they want to read it, because the issue won't be solved for them by having a technique. That's a different thing. It's client to client coding standard sort
I
of.
don't see it any client currently is saying because everyone wants to move it to cloud. We will always say that if you want to use your HANA capabilities, you have to go ahead and write down with your new syntax, new style only. Then only you can able to see the database power or power of your HANA system. Without that, why? even if I go ahead and showcase you, you can just do your concatenations inside your select query. You can just do a trimming. I mean, if you want to if you want to remove your leading zeros, let's say for example,
Yeah,
when you're
yeah,
fetching the data directly, you can do that with the help of your select query. Inside your select query only, you can able to do that. They don't know about all those things. We as a developers, we has to know it. And if you want to get only the few values on your DAT, I just want based upon this month, I just want to print the month
yeah.
automatically. So you can do it inside your select query. So everything, almost like 70 to 80% of the things we can able to directly push to your database. That's what your CDS views are when I
Yes,
was discussing
that's
in the
one
first
thing.
statement.
Yeah, the
First,
aggregations, calculations can be done on database directly instead of getting it to the internal
right.
table and
Instead
do it.
of getting it into your application layer, you can directly push that into your database. That's called your code push down technique is code push down technique. So that's how you have to change. So then only you can able to see the capacity of your HANA system.
Yes.
Okay, so you have to do it. But
No, we
if you
have
are
other
if
problems. Today we was attending TechEd, SAP TechEd issue where SME customers.
even I am also attending the tech issues. Tech.
They're like how many uh, what do you say this development environments do you want as a customer was asking like you said Eclipse, then you said now Bass, then you said Visual Studio, now again you are coming up with no code so SAP itself was like confused how many you want develop, how many different developer, how many editors do we started with GUI, you said GUI, we went with GUI, then Eclipse. Okay, we were all comfortable with Eclipse, understanding cloud environment. Now came business application studios. Now came something else. New you need to have this. You need to
See, BAS is only when you're developing your Fiori based applications.
right. So
Not
that yeah,
see that's something, see that something will be
yeah,
there at any given point of time. We are diverting, but we are diverting from a
yeah,
side.
yeah. Private, yeah, yeah. I understand. Yeah, that's
Okay, but see when you are designing if you want to design something at the front end, so that will be used by your Fiori consultants, not we. See, till my career I have not used BS Bash Application Studio. So
okay.
when you are exposing that to a Fiori, and if you want a Fiori screen to be gets modified,
No, no,
then
that
we
is the
will be
same
going.
question. The customer is asking to SAP directly.
Huh.
A developer should know how many. Okay, before it was one developer was enough. Now, if I have to, if now S4 is saying to do a report, do in Fiori. So you need one new consultant for Fiori. For backend applications, you need another. Before this was all not there.
See,
You got the point.
currently, yeah,
They don't
I
need Fiori
understand.
at the
It's okay,
customer
okay.
doesn't
We are
need
we are
Fiori.
just diverting that.
Yeah, yeah,
Just
understand.
we'll just keep this aside. Okay. So this is how. Okay.
But I understood your point, what you have said. That was good. At least I know why we are going with new syntaxes. That I understand. Yeah.
Okay. So so this the one thing is we can just reduce the code and we can just use your new syntaxes, and we are trying to push the data into your databases, into your database directly. Okay. So those are all the things that which we will be going to see in your upcoming sessions. Let's see if the system is working. No, it's still not working. Now, anyways, coming back. Now, in this read table, so let's start with our application layer new syntaxes. So, application layer new syntaxes. What are the new syntaxes on your application layer? So, after that, we will be going
One
back to
quick
your
question.
data.
So that sorry, that inline declarations we are done with that, right? Like what you have said, except in select query at this.
I'll that's
Okay,
what I
we'll
told
come
you,
back.
right? That's what
Yeah.
I'll told you, right? So we will be just covering our inline declarations parallelly, and then we will be just covering our new syntaxes.
Okay. Okay. Got it. Got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now coming to your read table. So what is the syntax for your read table? So sorry, the system is not there. I couldn't able to show you, but as you already knowing about it, read table, internal table into work area. with the key, and you will be providing your field name. Field name is equal to your value. What is the comparison value, etc. And if you have multiple, and you will be writing with your binary search.
Yeah.
Binary search. Now, when you want to do the same thing with your inline declarations, before this work area, you will just declare this data off. That's it. So now you don't need to declare this with at the above, like data, work area, type, your work area type, your types declaration. So you don't need to declare that. So
But
automatically it will take the reference of your internal table. Automatically, the system will take the reference of your internal table, and it will go ahead and create your work area. It will just go ahead and create your work area directly. You don't need to declare it explicitly. So inline declarations are the same thing. You don't need to declare your variables explicitly. Okay, so
okay,
that's,
one question. Sorry.
yeah,
So this iTab also, when we are writing select query, we did not declare iTab also, right?
right,
In the
right,
declaration.
right,
Okay. So iTab also we are not declaring, WA work area also we are not. It is all dynamically built.
exactly.
Okay.
Okay, so this is what. Now if you want to use your field symbol, let's say there is a concept called as your field symbol also. So what is
Right.
that? Read table,
Yeah.
internal table, assigning. Assigning, you will be just providing your field symbol, the same thing with the key, and then binary search.
Okay.
Binary search. So here, before this, you will be writing this as your field symbol. That's it.
Okay.
So
Okay.
this is how you have to go ahead and do it. So this is
Okay.
how you will be just writing your inline declaration. So this, it will be used. So how can you know whether there is a data or not with the help of your psi
Sabah.
subarc? Size Abarsi. If it is 0, then it founds the data. If it is not equal to 0, then it doesn't have the data based upon your conditions. So this is what we know till now. Now, coming to this new syntaxes. So,
Oh, this is not new syntax.
no, this is
This is
inline
inline.
declarations.
Okay. Okay.
So now coming to the new syntaxes, in this new syntaxes for read statement, we have 4 new syntaxes that has been came up. One
Oh,
is with with what is with the conditions, my bad, with the conditions. So based upon your conditions, how you are going to write. And then the other one is using index. Based upon index, I want to read the data. Okay. And then based upon this, so check if the data is available or not. The data is available or not in the internal table. And the fourth one is getting only one single field value instead of getting the entire work area. I just want only one single field. I just want only one single field. Now you can ask me a question, can I get more than one single field? Then you have to go ahead and use your work area only. If you have only one single field to be gets to be gets fetch, then you can able to use this one. And remember this one, the note, most important thing is when we are using this new syntax, new syntaxes for read statement, it will it will always be a linear search. So you know what is the difference between a linear search and a binary search. Linear search is nothing but it will linear search, row by row it will check, row by row, it will check based on the conditions, based on your conditions. Whereas binary search, binary search, it will divide the internal table by half, and it will check whether it is coming to your upper side or whether it is going to come to your lower side. On that again it will divide by 2. On that again it will divide by 2, and it will fetch the data. Here the data retrieval is very faster, but whereas in the linear search it is very slow. But when you're going to use a huge table, let's say, for example, you're working on your accounting documents table, finance tables, if you're working on it, we won't using this. We will be always creating a types declarations, and we will create either sorted or hashed internal table, sorted or hashed internal table. When you are going to use your sorted, when you are using this new syntaxes, it will always uses your binary conditions, binary search. So sorting by default, it will go ahead and use that. On your linear, on your standard table, you have to explicitly write your binary search. You have to explicitly write. So that's why we will always write down with your binary search. So for your binary search, what is your prerequisite criteria? You need to go ahead and sort your internal table. Sort the internal table. So whatever the conditions which we are going to provide on your read statement, with those fields we have to sort it. So let's say I have provided only here my field one. I'm going to do my binary search on my I'm going to do my sorting on my field one, and then you will be writing your delete adjacent duplicates. But these things we have already showcased you in your yesterday's class with the help of replacement statement called as your order by, and then delete adjacent duplicates is distinct distant. So these two things we have distant. So these two things in your yesterday's class we already seen that one. Okay. So now, this is one thing you need to remember. No, people doesn't know about this till today also. They'll just go ahead and write down the syntaxes. But what is the purpose? Why? So sometimes it will always go slow when you are working on very big tables, not on your master tables, or if you are maximum I have seen when we are looking on the financial data tables only, I have faced this issue till now. In all the other scenarios, I never faced any issues. It is able to get that, because how many financial records it will be gets generated. So if you take any company, miscellaneous, every day the miscellaneous will go ahead, and for month salaries will be in years. If it is in years, you are then 15 days, for every 15 days the payroll has to be run. Whatever and uh, what is this? The company, if you take any company, how many sales, for those sales they will be going to do the financials. If you are going to procurement, how many things they are going to procure, for those they have to do the finance, and you will be submitting your bills. We will be submitting our bills in our companies for reimbursements. All those things, if you are considering, everything has to become and sit into your database. So how many records that will be gets generated every day for every month? Let's say if you're going to get the data for one year, 1 year I want to display those. So in those type of a scenarios, you can't able to use your linear search. It will create a lots and lots of performance. I would say when you're going to work on very big tables, I would always suggest you to go ahead and declare that as your sorted or as your hashed. Don't worry, this also I'll be covering with one example, how to create your sorted table, and then how to write down that one. I'll be just covering that one. Okay. So this is one thing we need to remember when you're working on it. Now, Yeah, Sandeep,
Yes,
go ahead
quick
if you have any
question.
questions.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm sorry because this all is whatever I've done in the past, all that again trying to understand this. Just quick question. Sometimes we declare this very deep structure internal tables, right? Like it is a combination of multiple fields from multiple database tables with you having a structure. We used to have those kind of tables where we used to declare one field is not a single column but a structure which has inside you will have multiple fields, like if you go to any
I understand. Yeah, tell me. So let's
right.
say if you
So
want to get the data
yeah, if you're
from,
right, yeah, inline declaration in that select query, you are directly saying select from Mara table into data of, let's say, the I tab. Now I tab is of type Mara, but if I
hmm,
have a very structured, deep structured, so I have to declare everything on my own. That's it, right? Like I have to
no.
consider. No.
See, let's say if you're see in this, whatever you are asked is a very good question. In this, you do have two different things. One is your deep structure, and one is your normal structure. So
Right,
normal structure is nothing but, so here deep structure is nothing but a structure inside an internal table.
right.
An internal table. Whereas coming to your normal structure, it's nothing but fields from
From different
different database
table.
tables.
Yes. Correct.
Database tables. Now, so this one also you can able to perform with the help of your inline declarations. Inline declarations you can, I mean, not in the select query, because when you want to fill any deep structure, you will be writing it loop inside a loop most of the
Right.
cases,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes.
in this case also the loop statement has been replaced with the for loop
Yes.
inside a for loop is what
Yes.
we will be go ahead and written down. So how you are going to write down also you will be getting to know when we go inside that. Okay, the normal structure is fields from a different database. What you will be writing, select with the joins on these tables.
Right.
So that's
Yes.
where that's the advantage. See, when you are going with hit with HANA, one more point you just need to remember, we should not use for all entries.
Okay.
We have to always use joins. Whereas when you're working on your ECC, you have to use only for all entries. You should
Yes.
not use your joins
Just
because joins will be happening at the database layer. Whereas for all entries will be happening at your internal table layer. But
application.
whereas in your, I mean, sorry, application layer, whereas in your S4 HANA, you have to completely push to your database. So that's why we will not insist you to go ahead and use your for all entries anymore. But there are people who are using, so you can ask me what will happen if I use it. It will just behave like as your normal ECC system only. It won't behave like as your HANA system. So the complex queries, everything you can able to keep it. But let's say, for example, if you have some very big complex data, very
Mhm.
big complex data, so almost you are going to get multiple table. I mean, if you're going to write multiple select on one single table, the same table you are going to write down, and based upon that value, I need to go ahead and get the data from other value, and I need to
Right.
go ahead and get the data from other things. All those, this is something a weird complex logic. Let's say if you're
Right.
having those
Mhm.
type of a scenarios, we will be going ahead either with your ABAP CTEs,
Okay.
ABAP CTEs or AMDPs.
Got it.
AMDPs, you can just go ahead. Okay, so those are the things that we will be going to know when we go in deeper into your SAP. In
Got
deeper
it.
into your SAP. At that time, we will be going. Okay, so this
Yeah.
is this is how. Now coming to this new syntax of your read statement, let's showcase you how to work with the new syntax. Now, so you will be mentioning your, see here you just need to mention your left hand side and right hand side. left hand side as well as your right hand side. If you know this thumb rule, then new syntaxes will always be the very easy. So left hand side is a place where we will we will we will update the data. Update the data. That means we will insert the data or we will modify the data. So that's why I just write down at update. Right hand side is a place how to get that data. How to get that data. How you're going to fetch the data which needs to be filled on your left hand side. Which needs to be filled on your left hand side, how you're going to fetch that data. Now, if you want to go ahead and read, so on the left hand side, you just need to go ahead and declare your variable. So data of ls underscore work area is equal to, so you need to provide what you are going to do. So that you will be using a keyword called as your value. So there are few different keywords. One is your value, one is your conditional, one is your switch, and one is your convert. Convert. So these are the four different things that operator we are going to provide over here. So the first step is, so here I would say operator. So what operation you want to perform, and then you need to provide your, see this work area. If you are going to use a generic, then you just need to provide it. I mean, if it has, so there are two ways. If it has to get from the right side, we will use it as hash. We'll directly use it as hash. Sometimes if the right side is generic, so from the generic you want to fetch that place. So this hash you can just replace with your structure or your table type or your data element or table hyphen field or your predefined type. Predefined type, you can just define that one. So how you are going to write down value is nothing but filling, getting the value, getting the value. So however it can be, if you want to get multiple records or if you want to get single record or anything, if you want to get some other things, you will be always use. Most of the cases I would say 90% we will be going to use our value operator only. Will be 90%, whereas condition is the replacement of if and if. So based upon the condition, the value has to be derived. Based upon the condition, the value has to be derived. Then we will be going to use this. Whereas switch is nothing but the replacement of your case and end case. Case and end case. Whereas convert is something a tricky. I mean, I would say, let's say for example, if you are going to provide that to your function module, in that function module, the type inside the see, uh, so which is of, let's say for example, lv underscore variable. So this is of type character char 10. Okay, this is my local variable inside my program, and inside your function module, the parameter is lv underscore variable, let's say type integer. They have provided integer. So the character and integer are the same? No, these are not same. Maybe you might be passing the values as in as 1234 or minus 1234, but the character and integer are not same. You will be landing into an error called as your type conflict. Type conflict, a runtime error, a runtime error. So as I don't have the system, If I have the system, I would have showcased you these things also. But anyways, maybe from day after tomorrow also, we will be just going into deep dive. So now what you will be doing in your program, you will be declaring a variable, data lv underscore variable one, type int, and then you will be passing lv underscore variable one is equal to lv underscore variable, and you will be providing that to your function module is what you will be doing it. Now all these things are gone directly in the parameter. We will be just going to use convert int of, I'll be just going to say lv underscore variable. It will change the data type from one data type to another. It will change from one data type to another data type, another data type directly. You don't need to do these type of things. So that's the advantage. That's so these are the things that which you will be using under your operator, and then you will be either providing it as hash, which is nothing but your generic, and then you need to write down your logic how to fetch that data. Now, in case of your internal table, in case of if you want to read the data from an internal table, so I will be providing my ls underscore variable is equal to value hash, and then you will be just providing, you just need to open your brackets and just give you a space bar. From here you need to provide your internal table. So what is your internal table, and open your square brackets, and here you need to provide your conditions. Whatever the conditions you want, you will be just providing your conditions. So that's it. That's it. That's it. So now when you're going to write down like this, if based upon your data, if it doesn't contain, so here remember in your new syntaxes we can't rely on size sub rc, or we can't depends on your size sub rc. Always remember that. So you will never, you should never ever trust on your size sub rc. It has to be always trust on your variables, because the size sub rc in this case also it will be zero only. In this it will be zero only. You should never ever trust. You have to always do it on your ls, on your left hand side variable, whether it contains the value or whether it doesn't contains the value, whether it contains the value or whether it doesn't contains your value. Now here when you are using this new syntax, so what will happen, SAP, if the data is not available, if the data is not available based upon your conditions, it will go for a runtime error. So what is that runtime error is cx underscore sy underscore itab line not found. found. So if you want to catch any errors in your real time, what usually we will be doing, try, and then you will be writing this as your catch. Try catch. So before this one, I'll be just going to mention this as your try, and then you will be just going to mention it as your catch cx underscore sy underscore itab line not found, and then you will be just going to say this as and try. So this is how you will be going to write your ABAP code. Okay, but as I told you, this new syntaxes we can directly use in those statements. So like the same way, I can just check like this. If I can just provide this one, if I can just provide this one is equal to, let's say, some value, some value. So I can directly write over here also, but here I can't able to use my try catch, or inside your for loop also you can able to use that. So in there also you can't able to write your try catch. So what SAP has provided, instead of writing with the try catch, you just go ahead and mention a keyword called as your optional. So what I will do, the syntax will be ls underscore ls underscore work area is equal to value hash, then internal table of your conditions. Let's say field 1 is equal to your value 1, and then field 2 equal to your value 2, and then after this you will be just going to write your optional. That's it. Here you need to write down your keyword optional. So if the data is not there, it will not go for your runtime error. It will suppress this catch. It will suppress this catch. Remember that. It will just go ahead and suppress this catch. So when you're going to use your optional condition. So that's the advantage. That's the advantage of going ahead with this. Now, if you want, this is how you will be just going to fill the values to your work area. As I already told you, it will use as your linear search only by default. But if you're going to create an internal table of sorted or hashed, then it will just go ahead and use that respective algorithms. Then it will go ahead and use your respective algorithms. Then it will just go ahead and use your respective algorithms to fetch the data. Okay, so this is one thing you just need to understand. Now, this is how you will be going to fetch the data. Now, let's say for your index. So what you will be writing, read table, internal table using index. You will be just mentioning your index into work area, or else I'll be going to say into into data of your ls underscore your work area, and index you will be just providing your 2 or 3, or you will be just going to mention it as your psi tabix. This is how you will be going to write down your ABAP code for your based upon your index. But whereas over here the simple, so data of work area is equal to value hash of your internal table, and then you will just mention your index and thus provide your optional. So the syntax is the same, but instead of your conditions you will be just providing your index, or else you can just provide it as your psi tabix. It will automatically take care of your condition. Okay, so this is how it will work. Now now when you want to check the data, if the data is available, if the data is available or not, so what you will be writing, you will be just providing with read table, internal table into work area, and then you will be just checking if psi sub c is equal to 0. Now you have to declare this work area for sure. For sure, you need to go ahead and declare this work area. And let's say, for example, uh, let's say for example you are not going to utilize that work area anymore, except only to check if the data is available or not. For examples, like when you're posting to a BAPI, you will be having a parameter called as BAPI ret2, which will provides us whatever the errors and whatever the warnings and whatever the informations. So now what you will do, if there is an error, you need to perform your rollback. If there is if you don't have any error, you need to perform your commit. So just for checking whether you have an error or not, we will be utilizing a work area. After that, we are not going to use that work area anymore. So there it is again, we are just, if you are declaring any variable, By default, 8 KB of data will be gets assigned. 8 KB of data will be gets assigned when you are going to declare. When you are going to declare. Now, why I need to use that 8, why I need to wastage that 8 KB? Okay, so to do this, SAP has came up with a new syntax called as your line exist. So line exist. So this is a keyword which is used to check. Line exists is a keyword. It will check. It will check if the data is available or not. That's it. It will just go ahead and check if the data is available or not. It won't move it to your work area or it won't do it anyway. So what I will do, if I'll just say line exits off. So line exits off your internal table based on your conditions. Based on your conditions, then I'll just go ahead and perform my condition. And if, and if, and if. So that is how. So you don't need here the work area definition has gone. So this is one place the advantage of your new syntaxes. Okay, so that's it. As I know the system is not working, but I have just covered you the theoretical topics. But as I told you, you don't have your session tomorrow, but that will be gets compensated on the coming Saturday. That will be just compensated on your coming Saturday. You don't have your session on tomorrow. And Friday and Saturday, you have your session. By Friday, you need to successfully register to our course by paying the by paying your initial amounts, or you can just complete your final amount too. Okay, so by Friday. So by Friday or max by Saturday, you have to complete. From Monday onwards, you will be getting you a new link. We will be going to provide you with a new link. Okay, so if from so that will be only be that will only be gets to the person who has been registered to our course, not for the everyone. So the demos and your real-time sessions are completed by that time. So then you have to decide whether you have to continue or whether you have to go ahead and drop off. That's it. So that's the end of today's session. Before I signing off for today's session, any other questions? Eh, Okay, I'll be considering it as no more questions, and we'll meet you tomorrow at the same time and we'll continue. Sorry, I mean, in the sense day after tomorrow, and we'll continue with our session. Thank you. Thank you all.